we are recording the video so we don't forget. And here we go. It's the Mike Tech Show, show number 796. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Mike Smith. Thank you very much for downloading and subscribing to the show. Please visit the main website at miketechshow.com. You can email me questions and suggestions for show topics at miketechshow@gmail.com. Can leave me a voicemail message on Skype. It's Mike Tech Show, all one word. Follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/Mike Tech Show, and also facebook.com/Mike Tech Show. This show is brought to you by Instant House Call. Remotely support your clients. If you are an IT pro or an MSP, you can have unattended, on-demand remote access. Try it free by clicking on the link on my website at miketechshow.com, big banner on the left-hand side. When you sign up, don't forget to use the promo code Mike Tech Show for your free 15-day trial. Also, don't forget to share and use the new Amazon link at miketechshow.com. Under sponsors, you will see it's a very short link. You can copy that link and save it. This supports me and the Mike Tech Show. Really appreciate it. Please update all your links and share this. This is direct support for me, and I really appreciate it. It's going to take a few months in order to get up to the levels we were at, but I know we can do it, and thank you so much for supporting the show. I really appreciate it. I have a lot to cover tonight. My computer mentor passed away. Got to talk about that. And the in the trenches stories are many, and I will do my best to cover everything, including the business trip from late last week, which is why there was no show Thursday night, and some updates on Windows 10 and trying to get updates to work. Also, my Squarespace problem, you all came through. And that was a piece of cake the next morning. As a matter of fact, the first email I got last Thursday night, I'm going to read, and that solved the problem. And then the same advice from so many listeners. I love this show. I love doing it for that. I was able to, I'll get to that when I get to the email. So a stack of email to cover. Let's begin. In the early 80s, matter of fact, 1980, 81, I got into the TI-99 4A. And that was a great little computer, and I played with that while I was at Drexel. And I graduated Drexel in 1984. And then took an exam for the city of Philadelphia, ranked number 1, interviewed, got the job in the engineering division of the highway division of the streets department. So I'm now an engineer at the streets department. They get an IBM PC with this software box called Lotus 123, and nobody knew what to do with it. So now I was supposed to be drafting and, drawing and editing and doing things with the city streets. We'll talk about that in a second. But they didn't know what to do with this, and they said, let's let the college kid go find out. Go do something with this. I was allowed 8 hours a day to play and read and just, oh, man. The first spreadsheets I had, I was like, oh, my God, I'm running out of memory. I only had 640K. That's when the AST 6-pack plus board I put a request in for as I was doing my research. It was phenomenal, and I was at night, evenings, after work, teaching other city employees for the city of Philadelphia Lotus 123, developing spreadsheets that we were able to put into place. This is how I got into computers, but that didn't push me over the top and get me a PC at home. So my boss, the streets commissioner, and I don't even know if he's around anymore. Larry Moy, and he was a Villanova grad, and I was a Drexel grad, so it was always, we messed around, teasing each other. He and a commissioner for another department were talking, and they were bragging about each of their computer guys. So Larry bragging about me, and the other commissioner bragging about his computer guy, Ray Havey. And they thought, what if we got these two guys together? What would happen? Then there's a little side story of someone who was just over the house last weekend, a dear friend and family member and godfather of my second son, and that's John Clapp. And he worked for the city. He was the programmer. He programmed in COBOL for the police department. So that's another friend of someone. What if they put us together? Oh my. So I'm introduced to Ray, and we get along, and I was like, boy, I need a PC at home, but I can't afford an IBM computer. Well, he says there's clones out there now coming out. He said, I'm going to take you to a store. And to me, it was a lot of money I had to save up, but still affordable. And I bought a Beltron 8088, and he walked me through. As a matter of fact, he did more than that. We got a set of the EEPROMs for the BIOS that made it like a real IBM BIOS, and an EEPROM burner, and we'll just let that kind of float out there, where if you didn't put a disk in, it would default to IBM Basic. That means you have the true IBM BIOS. And it was just a dual floppy, no hard drive, and a monochrome monitor, because there were no color monitors back then, or at least none that you could afford. So I finally got, a RGB 4-color monitor. That was awesome. He guided me through everything about the computer, hooked me up with software, and I started programming in BASIC. He programmed and actually developed some engineering software called GeoCalc, and it was amazing. He had access to a ton of business software that just I was blown away with, and he instructed me, and we had fun. Now, enter John, who I mentioned. He had access to all the games that could be played on a PC. So we got together, and then that's where we, at the back of the magazine, the different computer magazines, where we bought, several hundred floppy disks, so we could save money. And it was phenomenal explosion of getting into computers, doing the work. Ray introduced me to a modem and bulletin boards, and that opened up a whole new world of logging on the bulletin boards. And Ray was a guiding force for me for computers for years. And I'll never forget the day that I know it. I was proudest, and I think he was too, when he had to come to me for computer problems. And that was awesome. I was like, the student is now helping the teacher. And it is where I got my foundation and my start. Now, I have not talked to Ray for probably just 3 years ago. He had retired, and I Googled and looked him up, and John and I were on the phone here at my house, and we got a hold of him and was talking to him, and we traded emails, really, but we never connected after that. I knew he lived in Florida, but I didn't know what part, and I was wondering, Wouldn't that be funny? I'm heading to Florida on the 17th of September, back to our house in Florida. What if he's nearby? I got to find out. I'm Googling, and I find his obituary. He passed away literally a couple months after that phone call, and at the age of 71. And such a kind, nice man who retired from the city, lived a few years in Florida, grandfather, father, great husband, father, grandfather, a gentle, kind soul, a heart of gold, and, will be missed dearly. And I just wish that I had continued to reach out. And there's some lessons in there where I'm very bad at following up, and don't let things go, because you'll have regrets, and I have a regret. So anyway, I had to share that story because I came across it. Now, in the midst of this, last night, a local sports broadcaster passed away who went to the same high school, West Catholic boys, grew up in Southwest Philly, was a few years older than me, and was the overnight broadcaster on WIP, the sports network channel here in the city. And he went by the name of Big Daddy Graham. And he passed away last night. And he had some brutal health problems the last few years. And I know he's in a better place because he was suffering, but 68 years old only. So just needed to get this and share this, and I hope you don't mind the little diversion. And especially, Big Daddy's making people laugh upstairs now. And if you got computer problems, man, raise the guy to help you. All right. So last week I had a big business trip where went to South Delaware, and I'm leaving with my son as we're heading down, and the storms are coming in a different direction. And one of the scariest texts I've ever received from PECO, which is the Pennsylvania Electric Company, and I get a text because I get alerts. It read, "Head to the basement immediately. A tornado is approaching." The tornadoes that hit my township was devastating. Now, thank God my house was untouched, but we know people that their places have been devastated and destroyed by tornadoes touching down in this area. Fort Washington made national news, which is right beside. Anybody who came to Show 500, which was in Fort Washington, that area is devastated. Anybody who remembers coming to Show 500, that's literally just blocks from me. And it was a horrible, horrible thing to be watching this on the news, and we're not there. And thank God we're not there. And my wife wasn't here. She had an appointment that took her out of town and coming back late. Thank God, because if anything did hit, nobody was home. I knew that the house had to be at least okay enough to have electricity and internet, because I could access the systems here from the hotel room. So what Michael and our goal was to get down there the night before, so we had it easy the next day. Interesting. So we have good dinner, and then we find, we're safe. We have 2 clients with power outage that they could be days without power, and I was talking to both the owners from the hotel room, and very fortunate. A lot of my clients, the businesses didn't get hit, so we were lucky, but unlucky where our whole high school lost its roof. The township building and police department, police are now operating out of the local library. It's bad, and we're recovering, and everybody's, pitching in and cleaning up, and there's a lot of work happening in the area. So I just had to go over that because that happened. Now, the next morning, we have 4 systems we're delivering, plus evaluating this health center. And the minute we get there, the one desktop and 3 laptops, the one desktop was targeted for the main doctor. No, the all-in-one desktop that was at the front desk had died. They needed a computer at the front desk to check people in. Now, luckily, all their software is online, and that's great because we couldn't recover anything from the hard drive after we took the hard drive out. So we take that all in one, go bang, we grabbed, they had one spare monitor. We were able to hook it up. I got them printing, and we got the software loaded, and they were up and running in under an hour, and that machine had not even been targeted for that. So we were heroes right off the bat. Then we started getting the laptops, getting the software set up, getting everything integrated, but also getting an analysis and a feel of the office for the next round of equipment that they're going to need. And that's going to be taking place soon. So a successful day that we then went to another client, and this is the client that introduced us to the health center. This is a financial advisor that actually sits on the board of directors for that health center. So we had some work for him. So we were able to knock that out doing a long day on Thursday. And that gave us a chance to sleep in a little bit on Friday. Not too much, but enough to relax, rest, and just leisurely drive home and then take on the business of Friday. We were very fortunate that there weren't a lot of calls and nothing that we couldn't handle over the phone. So I was handling that while my son was driving. So we were able to take care of a lot of the issues. Now, behind me, you might not be able to see more computers. I have never, ever had this many new systems and refurb systems that clients are ordering. And we have another desktop there and a laptop. We're waiting tomorrow for the old laptop that we're replacing, and 9 a.m. tomorrow coming right here to my house. We have 2 separate clients dropping off equipment where we're going to be transferring the data off those systems and onto the new systems. And of course, Fabs Auto Backup 7 Pro, little plug, because that's what we're going to use tomorrow. I'll be working on one while my son works on the other. We got to get these transferred and then get them into the hands of the users again to call them up and get them over here to pick up the new systems ready to rock and roll. Been having more visitors here, for more clients coming to the office because they needed to bring the equipment. We have an attorney that's a solo practice attorney come over last week with, matter of fact, it was Friday. It was after the show on Thursday. She brings a stack of hard drives with all the pictures and needed to consolidate them. So I was able to do that. She had a ton of questions. We added them to the Google Photo library online. So she has, because that's what she uses. Something interesting, she wanted to be able to back up those photos that are up in the cloud on Google Photos just to make sure. So one of the things you can do is select all of the photos, but you're limited to 500 at a time. Then you select all and download, and they zip it to one file and you download. So I recommend it that she starts going back after we taught her how to do this. Do each year, go back, because she's got a lot of years up there on Google Photos, and just make a zip. Try to tag everything from 1 year, and which is under 500 photos, which is great. And she could tag them and then download it and then rename it to that year for the zip file. I said, now you got a nice archive of all of your Google Photos. So just a little tip out there. Had a client get their email hacked, and it was a spectacular hack. The email diverted the direct deposit for an employee that was so well crafted, and that they believed it. He believed that this email was from them. When someone wants to change financial targets, let's say, maybe it's a wire transfer, or you need verbal confirmation. You don't believe, and make sure you teach people this. You teach your clients, you teach everybody this. Do not just accept an email instructions, even if it looks great. You really want to change the bank you're depositing? Just pick up the phone, talk to the employee, talk to the person, talk to that title insurance company. Or don't believe if someone's changing where you're supposed to send the money. So that's the lesson we try to get out there to everybody. Here, they reported the fraud and they're getting the money back. But when I logged into this employee's email online, and they are Microsoft Office 365, the Microsoft standard, so it's all hosted by Microsoft, I go in and you go right to the rules. What did I find? A rule that any email with the word direct deposit that is coming back to this employee, to delete it. And so even if her boss replied back, "Are you sure you want that?" It just went and was automatically deleted. Whenever there's a confirmed hack of an email account, you make sure, A, that you've changed the password immediately, but go into the rules online, because there are a lot of bots that once they get a hold of that password, they're creating rules, and that's what's going to wreak the havoc, and you need to clean that all out. So not only did we do that, we changed and made sure all of the passwords for everybody in the company was changed. So we don't know the source of what happened, but we aggressively cleaned everybody's system and scheduled time and cleaned their home systems remotely. So I was glad management approved that. My son and I quickly went into action and worked with all the employees and did a deep cleaning on all the systems. So hopefully that's all taken care of right now. And just wanted to share all of those stories. Something I'm also glad to see, an uptick on new hires for businesses. We've been adding a lot of users across the board. Matter of fact, tonight, the minute I'm finished, I'm adding a new user for one of our electrical companies that they do all electrical repairs and anything dealing with electric. A new attorney hired, a new assistant hired, and our South Florida client I remoted in this week and took care of. So glad to see that uptick of new hiring. Just good for the economy, good for everybody, and I'm happy to see that. I have a stack of email that I want to get to. And let's begin with Squarespace. So I received an email right after the show from Chris. And his email was, "My church uses Squarespace, but I kept control of the DNS and still manage it through GoDaddy. I believe this link covers what you need to do." I replied to Chris on Friday morning, it was exactly what I needed. And that was just phenomenal. I want to thank right now Israel from Starcom, who sent me the instructions to do the same thing. And of course, David. I just finished listening to your podcast, and by now you've probably gotten many, many responses to your question about whether you can control the name server and DNS settings. Thank you, David from New Mexico. Everybody who followed up with me, and I so greatly appreciate it. And the first link for the night in the show notes will be the instructions on how to do that for Squarespace. It is why I love doing this show. Not only helping solve problems for people and being the conduit between a listener with a problem and a solution, but I get real client problems, things that I can't solve, and I throw it out there and get an immediate solution. So for the last few weeks, we've had this problem where I can't do all the Windows updates for Windows 10. They are stuck at 1909. I can't go any further. We get error messages anytime. I even use Windows Update Assistant. I've went over so many things. Bob, I want to thank. And Bob, I apologize. I got delayed. I owe him a phone call back. Is it Bob? No, there's someone else. I'm so busy. I owe a phone call back to a listener who was very kind that I need to actually get with Marv because this is, quote, advanced networking, and I need to speak with him real quick to get some ideas. But this is from Bob, who I also spoke to about this problem, and I really appreciate it. And he just listened to the latest podcast, and he doesn't want me to nuke and pave. Don't do it. And he had hundreds of systems that were Windows 10, and they failed to do the update. And what he found was there was unknown accounts, and there's a procedure for trying to find out all of the profiles, and whenever there's an unknown account, delete that, reboot, try it again. It worked. And he did that and was successful, having the same problem I had. I didn't get back to Bob. Unfortunately, there were no unknown accounts on the one system. So I'm still at the point where we're going to schedule a nuke and pave the next time she's down in the area. And we also were talking about this, the systems on the older side. So what we might do is I may configure a new computer for her when she's ready, probably right before the end of the year, ship it to her. Then remotely, I can easily transfer all the data from this system onto the new one, and then nuke and pave that system that she can then give to someone. And I could do that remotely. All I got to do is easily have her create a Windows 10 with the media creation tool and walk her through booting over the phone and doing a quick install of Windows 10, and then putting on instant house call so I could remote in and finish it up and configure it. Actually, there's an assistant, somebody that works for her, that this would be better than the laptop that person's using. So her old system is still better than the system someone else is using. So that is what may happen. Now, some history about this system, and I don't know if this helps. It was originally Windows 7 Pro that we did an in-place upgrade to Windows 10 that was successful. And now we're just trying to get beyond 1909. Just unable to. So another set, and I've tried this, and I'm going to have a link, and it's how to use the DISM command tool to repair Windows. And Alan, I really went through that and tried. This is a great link from Windows Central that I'm going to put in the show notes, that if you have problems, this could solve them. It just didn't solve mine. So I want to share that. And Alan, thank you so much for sharing that. This is from Andrew, and I just want to read this because I love it. I love this kind of response, and I want to share it. I followed in Mike's footsteps and bought a second home, although mine is in Myrtle Beach. Congratulations. That is awesome. I then advertised on Nextdoor on the Nextdoor app for virus and hard drive upgrades and quickly got 4 quick hits. My fourth client has a teenage kid, and his PC, when you try to hit setting, it flashes and goes away. Also, the Windows notification in the bottom right-hand corner does the same thing. I was thinking virus, so ran Malwarebytes and found 140 hits, so quarantined them all. I then tried to run PowerShell, but it flashes and goes away. So running SFC/scan now enabled the Windows notifications, and running Windows Update fixed the settings screen. So thanks for pushing us to Google, YouTube to find answers. So Andy, that's great. And congratulations, and hopefully you'll get many, many, many more clients as word of mouth spreads. And that's the best form of advertising. Love hearing that. That is so cool. What do we got? Oh, here from Philip. This is, I hope he doesn't mind. It's the Philip who's a pilot. And he's been sending me some scary things that you read. And this is interesting. This seemingly normal lightning cable will leak everything you type. That he loves scaring us with things, and the oh my God cables, as they're called, work by creating a Wi-Fi hotspot itself that a hacker can connect to from their own device. Unbelievable little, you got to read this, you got to see it, and that link, of course, will be in the show notes. And I hate reading things like that, but, I do, want to share all of that. Let's see. Oh, no, here we go. A follow-up on scams. And I was talking about scams. By the way, a moderator from the Facebook Scanners group reached out, actually made a comment on the YouTube video, and I haven't responded yet. And he said you can call PayPal and they will help you. Well, I guess if you're lucky, because I did, and that didn't help. Because all they kept doing was they would keep referring to the shipment that I received. And I could not prove that I didn't receive what I bought. And they didn't want to hear anything else. And I know too many people that have called and still disappointed. So, unfortunately, there's not enough info in my orbit and what I have dealt with people I know, listeners that have reached out to me, that PayPal has helped them. So I've only been on the negative side of that, and everybody I talk to, I'd love to hear positive PayPal stories. Share them, and I will absolutely do a show if you arm me with some positive stories where you've been scammed and PayPal came to the rescue and helped you and refunded your money. Unfortunately, I only hear the other side, so I will give equal time if people notify me. So this is from Brent. I was scammed on Walmart for a third party delivering a mongoose bike. Shipping was $100. Another company in New Jersey shipped me a medical mask. Once Googled, I found a complaint page with others scammed also. They were not getting shipping refunded by Walmart. I told Walmart support chat I will file a complaint on their website SSL certificate and hope to have it removed. Then they agreed to include my $100 shipping on the refund. Brent, very, very good tactic. And I really wanted to make sure I'm sharing that with everybody. We're going to close on that email. So that just tremendous. Hope you enjoyed everything. Remember to support the show. Use the new Amazon link. I get a small commission. but your price stays the same. Really appreciate it. Fab's Auto Backup Pro, we're going to be living in that tomorrow. Me, my son, we're going to divide and conquer on both these new systems and get them into the hands of the users quickly tomorrow. And then, of course, can't live without instant house call. That is your remote access solution if you're an IT pro or an MSP. That is it for tonight's show. Next week, I know it's it's TechCon Unplugged not this weekend, the following weekend, and a lot of people are landing and going in on Thursday. I'm traveling on a plane on Friday, so as of now, next week's show will be Wednesday night, hopefully 7 or 7:30 next Wednesday. So don't want to miss a beat. Want to keep it going. That'll be show 797. So we are definitely closing in, and I'll be in Florida for show 800. So that's it, everybody. Have a great weekend. It's going to be a little somber, the 20th anniversary of September 11th on Saturday. Just boy, the tornadoes, now anniversary of 9/11, people passing away. It's just, we just got to take everything on, deal with each as they come at you, and keep moving forward. So that is it. And please stay safe. Please, if you're not vaccinated, look at everything again and reconsider trying to get vaccinated so we can get past all of this. Thank you. Good night.